Oops. Recording in progress.
Fantastic. Well, welcome to the Redlands Camera Club. We are very excited to have Pieter Nystrom with us this evening. Peter is a friend of mine. We bumped into each other out shooting in Redlands. In fact, Redlands is a specific topic that Peter has specialized in. And whenever we're at the same spot, and I look at his photos compared to my photos, they're totally of different things. He sees the world differently than I do, and I appreciate his vision. I appreciate his storytelling, and I appreciate the effort that he goes into sharing those photos through his YouTube channel. So with that, Peter, we're going to switch the PowerPoint and take it away.
Thank you so much, Bruce.
Actually, let's hear it for Peter.
All right. Good evening. Thank you so much for having me. As a longtime resident of Redlands, I'm very excited to be here. I remember being a boy and reading about the Redlands Camera Club and the facts and thinking, I bet that's a cool group of people. And I'm glad to see that you are. I really appreciate the invitation. And the purpose of my talk today is to share my story going from hobbyist to creating a YouTube channel. And it's going to document not just my photography, but how I made the photos. And just to sort of jump to the end here, this is the channel analytics page that you see on YouTube for my channel, which is called Still Winding, if you missed that. I have 762 subscribers. I've made 87 episodes. So what I lack in popularity, I make up for in, output. And Bruce has been very good at reassuring me that, that is something to be grateful for, is that you can go out and you are productive in your sharing. And I really appreciate Bruce's enthusiasm in my work. Pre-YouTube, I am, as I said, a longtime Redlands resident, RHS class of '94. And after that, I was a math and technology teacher for almost 20 years. Just before 2020, I stopped and became a full-time stay-at-home dad. And my photography was as the family photojournalist. I really did not like posing people. I like to be candid, and I fancy myself a documentarian in that regard. And like a lot of side hustles, my channel began during COVID, and I started watching a lot of YouTube. I started watching a lot of especially photography-based YouTube. And what I quickly realized was I didn't really know very much about photography. Everything was auto, and I was just snapping away at my beautiful children. And of course, that looked great. But I wanted to be challenged more. And friends online really pointed me to the Leica M, which I have here for you guys to show you kind of the example of what I bought. I even bought the MD262, which had no rear screen. So it was very much a digital film camera, and it was manual focus with an optical viewfinder, and then ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. And it really focused me in on that exposure triangle and taught me so much. And as I watched these videos, I started to gain confidence and say, maybe I could do this too, as a way to express myself and contribute to the platform that I've learned so much from. So I asked myself a lot of questions, like what would I do with a YouTube channel? I look around, and I had taken a lot of classes and field trips with Steve Wormser. So I felt like he had a lot of education covered in town. Gary Jefferson's very prolific and beloved as a downtown street portrait photographer. And then, of course, Bruce Herwig, I always saw with his coverage of events, especially in town, and I felt like that was well covered. And so what I thought was missing, what I didn't see, and because I was using an M, I thought, well, maybe film. Maybe I could document the town with film. I think that would lend a sort of timeless appeal to what I was looking for. The second question, can I reach 1,000 subscribers? No, not yet. It's been about 4 years, and I'll tell you a bit more about that story later. But 1,000 subscribers is the magic number where your hobby becomes a bit more validated, because YouTube starts throwing pennies your way for views. If you reach 1,000 subscribers and have 4,000 watch hours in the last year, they will start paying you, and that would give me the confidence to say, yes, I'm a professional. What are my strengths? I felt like I'm a quiet photographer, and I would be a quiet voice on YouTube. If you watch a lot of photography YouTube, it is a lot of talking heads, and it is a lot of slow-mo macro photos of other camera gear. And I'm not like that. I don't want to be on camera. I just want to have the pictures and the experience be the story. The next question was, is there enough potential content in the area? And journaling and sort of mapping things out, yeah, there is a lot of Redlands that could be photographed and make compelling content. We have natural beauty, we have a lot of architectural beauty, and we have a lot of events, the Bike Classic and so on. And so where do we begin? And my first thought was, well, I'm going to steal. I want to introduce you to Jason Chen. This was, and if he was still making stuff, would be probably my favorite YouTuber at the time. He is a New York-based film photographer, and he had exactly the vibe that I was going for. He was very low-key. He was just documenting his daily life in film. And so I'm going to show you a brief clip. So we'll
that's my cue.
do the transfer of power.
Okay, this is
An idea. There's that groovy, jazzy, hip-hoppy score underneath it, and he's not anyone's face, it's a surprise photograph of them. So the channel was Redlands on Film. I was hoping to make weekly episodes, but it was pretty flexible. I wanted to go about 10 minutes. This was the ideal time for me. One of my jobs as a stay-at-home dad is I have a daughter that is tube fed, and very sensitive to sound. So I wanted to keep it low key and have something that we can do together and relax with. No talking. Music by Graham Sound. Graham is my brother. He's also a class of '97 RHS graduate, and I thought that just having all of this Redlands boy vibe in there would be great. And I just make videos that Eva, that's my daughter, and I would want to watch together. The fun part of any creative endeavor, of course, starting a band, starting a channel. What's the name going to be? And I chose Still Winding because of all the wordplay. Still photography. I'm still out here doing film in an age of cell phones and Instagram. And winding because it's part of film photography. You got to wind that film back in the canister when you're done with the roll. And of course, winding, I thought, gave the vibe of what the video would be when you're watching it. It's going to be slow paced. It's going to just be exploring and taking a closer look. And then I thought, well, what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is I have a bit of a legacy that I can leave behind. I've got now, what did I say, 87 videos that the kids can look back on. I can look back on. It was a journey emotionally here, putting this together, just seeing how much I've grown over the years, excuse me. It didn't require a huge investment on my end. I already had the still photography. I just needed a GoPro. I very simply mounted it to the cold shoe for that POV perspective. And I had iMovie built into the computer. And then once again, my brother was providing the music because he's a musician. And so that was also free of charge for me. So really it was just the action camera that I needed to get going. Signing up for YouTube is free. And starting to upload is free. So let me give you a quick glimpse of that. And so I just kind of took off on There's a 1 minute little preview there. Hopefully you'll all go subscribe and watch all of these when you get home. And lessons learned is something that my friend and I would constantly say to each other after going out and doing photography is, boy, that really learned a lesson on that one. That was sort of the title in my head of what the channel was. You have a little success and you do get some negativity. All I'll say about that is, it's very easy to turn it off. But it's in the form of comments on your videos. One thing I ran into that 36 stills is a lot. You go to Prospect Park and try to make 36 good photos, which is your roll of film, and you're going to have some losers in there. And that started to hurt my heart because with digital, it's fine. You delete all the files you want. When you pay to buy the film and then you pay to get it developed and scanned and sent back to you, it hurts because it's like $1.50 to delete any photos. And it was making my videos a bit long. But I did really enjoy film, and the more I was into it, the more I heard about medium format. And this is my medium format Hasselblad camera. This thing is beautiful to look at, and so I really wanted one. Then I learned it was the camera they took to the moon to take those photographs. And my dad said, "Oh yeah, by the way, your grandfather had one of those too." I was like, "Oh, I gotta get one." The great thing, not great thing, but the thing about that is that it is 12 shots per roll. And 12 was much more manageable. I could go out and take 12 shots and populate a video. And let me give you a look at what that would look like. was at San Mateo Nature Sanctuary. Been down there. That was a fun and challenging walk, but a great place to take pictures. So lessons learned after this era of the channel was say more. My friends and family kept encouraging me, Peter, we want to hear what you have to say. We want to hear what you're thinking when you're making these photos. And I was very hesitant, but I did experiment with that. And let me give you a sample of what that sounds like. Morning, kids. Loading up with Kodak Gold 200 this morning. And the assignment is simple. Simple is hard to photograph. I don't have a very clear vision today. At the Hasselblad this morning, we are still winding. So I'm going to say that this is a simple path. Just because I got to get my first frame out, do a little warm up. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little worried about this roll. It's already, I've shot 3 frames, but I'm only showing 2, which means that my little gears are slipping and it's not advancing the film. And I've experienced that before with the Hasselblad. I get kind of double exposure, I guess you call it. So I'm already a little depressed. I came around the bend and saw this tree, half in the sun, half in the shade. Okay, I've got a simple beam of light coming through these very basic weeds. I think that's pretty cool.
Oh, to buy lunch there?
I don't know if you can see the little spider webs that are
I
stringing
always
throughout
gave
the
her
weeds,
lunch.
but that's cool too. I forgot to mention that's Caroline Park, another great Redlands park that we have. Lessons learned here. Let me talk to you a moment about Facebook. I mentioned it earlier that 1,000 subscribers was hard to get. I thought it would be super simple, barely an inconvenience. Mainly because bottom left corner, Redlands Buzz. Redlands Buzz at the time had tens of thousands of members. Currently 86,000 members. That boy, I get 1% of those people and I'm golden. I'll have 1,000 subscribers in no time and I'll be making money any day now. The problem with that is that they are competing platforms. Google owns YouTube, and of course Facebook is Meta, and they do not like to promote each other in their algorithms. And so I put a video in Redlands Buzz and I get no engagement. Put a photo, you get plenty of engagement, but video, nothing. Tried all the workarounds that I Googled online, and just never seemed worth it to me to get it going. To that point where I was like, well, I have seen a lot of Redlands now. I've documented it with a lot of film. I need to move on. What's the next era going to be? And it decided to take a stab at consistency, meaning publishing much more consistently. Pick a day and then every week you go. So I traded in the film Leica for a digital Leica. I did add a vintage lens. I'm going to show you this clip from this video with about a 20-year-old Zeiss lens. So I could have at least some nostalgic film feel with it. A lens that was designed for film. This is going to be a impromptu Redlands Emerald Necklace tour that I did with Bruce and friends. And enjoy.
I think it's awesome. Thanks for the opportunity. So you guys were going to go out and just take shots?
dozen locations that day. That was a lot of fun. A great tour of Redlands. But the next lesson I learned came from Mr. Beast. Have you heard of Mr. Beast?
Yes, yes.
The world's most subscribed YouTuber. And I did watch a few videos of his that sort of delved into, so you want to be famous YouTuber, here's how you do it. And he said, you have to answer the question, why is the viewer clicking? You may have the best video and content ever, but it has to be watched. And the only thing that's between you and the viewer is your thumbnail and your title. And so those have to have a healthy amount of effort put into in order to make them compelling so that someone clicks on them. You know, the word clickbait is there because that's what you want. You want to bait people into watching your video. And so I really tried to put a lot of effort into what am I doing? Why should someone watch this? At the start, it was for me and my daughter. Now, why do I want people to click? And the answer was, for me, I'm going to make relaxing themed photo walks. And that proved pretty popular. I did change my perspective a bit. The pic on the top right there, if you look closely on my hat, is a mount for an action camera. So I got a great POV where you could see the back of my camera as I was taking the pictures. And I thought that that really lent an air of authenticity because it wasn't, you know, as you guys were talking about earlier, just AI, you know, who made this picture? You improved that you made it. I thought film did that for me. I was like, well, I made it on film, it's film. And now I'm proving to the audience, this is how I did it. But a new perspective, added a bit voiceover microphone, added a upgraded editing software. And this at the time was my most popular video. And I do want to skip towards the end because it does briefly show the mount.
Hello, friends.
Okay, so now one of my favorite parts, because I'm a former math teacher, you get endless graphs and analytics from YouTube, and this was one of the most encouraging. This is a timeline from the first episode to, I believe, mid-2024, no, end of 2024. And the far right there are my theme videos. That one was peer themed. And so the Mr. Beast's advice did work. I did get more engagement. Just, you know, I didn't really change who I was. I just changed how I presented myself. But there was no such thing as a sure thing. Just because it was successful doesn't mean I could repeat it forever. One day you're sailing high and the next day, no views on your latest content. And so it was on a car ride to the Desert X field trip with the camera club that Bruce was telling me about ChatGPT. And is ChatGPT your friend? Was sort of the next iteration of the channel, where I said, give me a very engaging title. Tell me what to put on my thumbnail. And it did give me these kind of emotional responses. Like this one is called No Autofocus, No Light, No Problem. Like a Noctilux 0.95. And so that compels the viewer to go, oh, really? Okay, this must be the world's greatest lens. Let's watch this.
Hello. Can be a social exercise. I was originally drawn to taking photos because it is isolating and calming. But there's also so much fun to be had in talking shop with a fellow photographer like Bruce, meeting new people, and in today's case, having a surprise reunion with a friend from my high school days. Boy, did that bring back a lot of good memories.
Little monologue.
Ability shortcut.
That little monologue there was ChatGPT. I said, here, I want to say something compelling. And it gave me a script. And so that gave me a little more confidence to be more vocal. Again, I was out in the fields and I ran into Connor McCaskill. Have you ever heard of Connor McCaskill? He lives here in town. And he came up to me on State Street and said, oh, nice camera. Was that one over there? And I said, beautiful dog. Can I take a picture of you? Yes. And we start talking. He says he's a YouTuber. We exchange usernames. And he has 117,000 subscribers. And I said, you are my new best friend. How did you do that? He said, well, it's very hard. And I pushed him. And he said, well, I think the most important thing these days is value proposition for the viewer. It's not consistency. It's not that thumbnail. It's not clickbait. It's, your viewer and your subscriber needs value from your channel. What are you providing them? And I thought, oh dear, I don't know what value I'm providing. So what I did was I thought, what do? I go out on State Street and I, take a couple dozen photographs and I put it to soothing music and express myself. And what I did was just tweak it a little bit and said, no, I'm providing you with photo prompts. And so I went in and I had a list, but I didn't have to follow it explicitly. And I said, here's some prompts. You're a dad like me and you got new Christmas gear and you want to go out, but you don't know what to photograph? Watch this video and I'll tell you what to photograph. And this was
Hello friends, my name is Peter, and this is today's kit, the Leica Q343 with the 43mm f2 Apo lens. Our first prompt today is up. I chose Umbrella Alley because I knew it would be an easy up. They recently replaced the umbrellas with brand new colorful ones, so I wanted to be first in line to get some snaps of the new umbrellas at Umbrella Alley. Prompt 2 is reflection. I liked the lights that were in the second row of panels here, and then the umbrellas that were on the top row. Autofocus wasn't grabbing what I wanted it to grab, and so used one of the great features of the Q, which is to just slide it over into manual focus mode. It zooms in automatically, and then Bob's your uncle.
This was and is my most popular episode. I wanted to show off my graph here. As I said, I had 762 subscribers, and it tells you 91 came from this episode. So more than 10% of my subscribers were based on this. They like this. They want to see more of this. I did make more, of course, but of course, nothing's a sure thing once again. And so, and it was difficult, it did prove difficult to make endless prompts for people to follow. And I lost a little bit of interest. So brainstorming again, trying to combine consistency and value. I want to produce something weekly. I want to provide value to the viewers. And what will that look like? I wanted to show you here, this was the latest action camera that I got. This is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. It has a built-in gimbal, which makes for nice smooth video, which is so important. That has been one of the hardest lessons, is I almost always take less video than I wish I had. If I have time, I'd like to show you this whole one. It's just 3 minutes, but this was my attempt at making an assignment. Something that my viewers were asking for is, we want to see what you do editing wise. And I've been insecure about my editing because I don't do a whole lot, and I didn't want to expose myself, but here we are.
Hello, friends. The theme for this week's photo challenge is fences. A fence is usually defined as a barrier or structure that marks a boundary, offers protection, or creates separation. When you look up fences, the image results show a predictable mix. Old wooden posts, ranch lines stretching into the horizon, chain link patterns, tidy white pickets. Lots of ideas, but also a reminder to look for something a little different. Here are a few fences I've photographed in the past. I like revisiting older work because it helps me see what kinds of compositions or moods I naturally lean toward. For this week, I decided to photograph the Sorreo Gateway at Ted Runner Stadium. It's not a fence in the traditional sense, but it is a boundary, and because it's named after one of my in-laws, it carries a personal meaning for me. I'm using the Fujifilm GFX 100 RF with the Provia film simulation. I photographed the gateway from several angles. Here are a few of those stills. Here's the raw photo of the one I liked best because it felt the most balanced. The light, the lines, and the sense of arrival all came together in a nice way. Here we are in Capture 1, where I do my editing. After doing an auto adjust, I usually bring the exposure down a bit, then raise the shadows and dehaze to add some presence back into the midtones. I cropped unconstrained to center the structure, but the geometry never looked perfectly right. This is part of working with architecture that isn't perfectly symmetrical. I did the best I could while keeping the photo honest. This photo also needed a healing mask to remove the light pole and some distracting chain link fencing in the background. These few small mixes help the gateway stand cleanly on its own. After exporting at a max dimension of 800 pixels, I was ready to submit on fredmiranda.com. Each entry needs a title and description. I usually go for a pun here, but couldn't come up with one for this assignment. After a week of voting, my photo didn't place in the top 5. I understand that my gateway didn't have the color of first place, the drama of second, the texture of third, the creativity of fourth, or the relatability of fifth. But winning isn't the point. I enjoyed getting some sun on my face, slowing down, and taking a long look at the Sorreo Gateway. If you want to see how I
Okay, so that pretty much brings us up to today. The lesson that I learned from this, I did a few of these weekly assignment challenges, and they were not very successful or well received. I think that the main complaint I had was it could have been a short, and I think it would have been ideal for a short. A short is usually those vertical ones that you see on Instagram and TikTok, more of that style of videography. And that doesn't really interest me, so I'm hoping to sort of expand that in the future, maybe fill out the running time with something else. And to bring us to a close, I want to talk about some unexpected bonuses of having the channel. The photo down here was one that I took outside of AK Smiley Library, and it won the citrus category for the Redlands Conservancy photo competition. That was a couple of years ago, which I very happy accident there. And it was something that I saw and I framed it up as, this is classic Redlands. We have a lot of car culture. I loved that old style curb. And then of course the orange tree right there in the sidewalk. I've really enjoyed the opportunity to photograph the Redlands Bowl behind the scenes, and the recent Kimberly Crest Christmas event, something I never would have done without the channel, and met, of course, a handful of other wonderful photographers. The Crafton Hills Open Spaces Conservancy commissioned me to create a video in my style for their fundraisers that they have annually, and they play that. That was an awesome experience and so fun and right up my alley. And of course, the field trips with the camera club. I went to Bombay Beach, the Emerald Necklace you saw, the Living Desert Zoo, Route 66, and Desert X have all been so fun. And it's just been great being a part of this community. And I really thank you for inviting me today. This is a photo that Bruce took of me at Salton Sea. And if any of this was intriguing to you, I really encourage you to express yourself on this platform. It's a lot of fun. It's easy to get into. YouTube can do YouTube. Do you have any questions? Yes, sir.
Definitely. I subscribe to your channel, so you have another subscriber.
Thank you.
I was wondering, is there a place that we can go to hear more of your brother's music?
Yeah.
I got a question this one.
I do link to his
Okay.
YouTube channel in my
Okay,
descriptions.
so I'll check.
Look at one of the earlier videos.
And then a question is, with the GoPro and the DJI, which one would you prefer now, knowing that you have the one with the gimbal and then you had the GoPro? Which one would you think is the better investment for?
Oh, gee, it really depends on your perspective.
Okay.
If you want it camera mounted, then actually DJI just came out with a new one. It's called the Nano,
Okay.
and you can just attach it right to the hot shoe.
Okay.
But if you do like that behind the screen perspective,
Yeah,
which
love
I
that.
really
love
like,
that perspective.
that is the Insta360 Go 3.
Okay.
They've heard of that one.
And then my last question, with the DJI, with the gimbal, does it have where you could plug in mics? Because I have a couple of Rode
Yeah.
mics. All right, thank you, sir.
I use a DJI mic
Okay.
with it wirelessly. I haven't tried Rode, but
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I know DJI works. Anything else?
Awesome.
Brian?
Are you gonna try out the new Ray-Ban or Oakley Meta glasses?
Oh, I
That'd be
don't,
good behind the scenes since you don't have to have it attached.
yeah, I think it would be great.
But what's
I
the,
would certainly not turn that opportunity down.
what's the resolution on those?
Oh, the resolution, I don't know, they're just doing a new update.
Brian, do those glasses, do they pick up sound as well? Or is it
Yeah.
just, okay.
Well, I have,
Yes.
So if your videos include the public, other people, do you get their permission if you publish your video?
You really only have to worry about that with children. And then, of course, everything I do is public, so
from public land.
in
Yeah.
California, it's not really a problem. Of course,
Or you could.
absolutely be respectful. I try to, only include people in a pleasing light. I don't try to fake anybody or anything like that, and I do not include children. Easily identifiable, at least. I think the biggest events I go to where that would happen would be like the fireman's car show on Memorial Day weekend. Has a lot of kids running around, like most careful then.
So do
But-
you like blur them out?
Usually I'm by myself. No. No, it's a public event, and so you're allowed to photo video anybody. As long as you're respectful. And I don't want any trouble, so I don't. Again, I'm the quiet, not in your face guy. All right, well, I would like to close. Oh, yeah.
We have a comment from a Zoomer that he shared your channel with 3 people today, so you're gonna see your line go up.
Great.
We're gonna get you up to 1,000.
Yeah.
Well, last thing I'd like to say, I do end my videos lately with this, is that I hope today brings you something worth photographing. It's kind of late now, but that is my intention with the channel, is just to encourage others to go out and find something that pleases their eye. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.